Hey everyone, welcome to another What I Eat in a Day video. In this video, we have got some absolutely delicious recipes for fall that are so cozy, perfect for sharing with your friends and family, or great for meal prep. I really think this was an especially delicious day of food, so I hope this video gives you some good ideas, and let's go ahead and get started with this What I Eat in a Day video. As per usual these days, I had two breakfasts. The first one was just a simple bowl of cereal. As I mentioned in my last video, I'm obsessed with this one from Kashi, specifically the cinnamon one. I think that one is the best of all of them. And I added some bananas for extra fiber, some extra sweetness, minerals, all that stuff, and then some peanut butter. Peanut butter and banana is a great combination, but it also added some extra protein, healthy fats, and then I added a protein-rich plant milk like this one from Ripple is a really good option. And this was so quick and easy, and honestly, a breakfast that I have pretty much every day. A little later on, I was ready for breakfast number 2. I had kind of gotten myself ready for the day, and that's usually the time when I need another breakfast these days. So I made some sauteed apples. I added some water and some cinnamon and maple syrup and just cooked them for like 10 to 15 minutes to soften. But you could do brown sugar instead of maple syrup if you want. You could do a little splash of orange juice instead of a splash of water. There's so many ways to make this delicious, even a little pinch of salt and some vanilla. I do all of those variety of options and it always comes out so good. Kind of tastes like apple pie. Then I topped it with this yogurt. I love how thick and creamy it is. I just get the vanilla flavor. When I make this for breakfast or as a snack, I usually add yogurt, but if I wanted to turn this into a quick dessert, you could just add a little scoop of vegan vanilla ice cream, some cinnamon on top, maybe some crumbled ginger snaps, and you have a quick and easy dessert too. Guys, welcome to another What I Eat in a Day video. This one's a little bit different. This is actually what I ate yesterday. I filmed it and I made some really delicious recipes. So honestly, today is probably going to be pretty similar. Just going to heat up some leftovers and have a really easy day. But yesterday was such a good day of food. So I'm excited to share these recipes with you. Specifically lunch and dinner, I feel like we're just like perfect for this time of year, and even recipes that you could take into like the holiday season if you're looking for some good holiday recipes. So excited to get into that, but I really wanted to stop and say thank you so much for your comments last week. There's really no words that don't feel cliche or kind of trite whenever I'm saying how much you guys mean to me, but it really just put the biggest smile on my face last week because I was getting your comments in real time and I just had like the best mood on Sunday because you guys were just being so kind and so supportive, giving me such good advice, and just that you are so genuinely happy for me. That really means everything. So thank you guys so much. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll put the big news up here in this video so you can check it out. But I love you guys, and I feel so lucky that you guys come here on Sundays and watch my videos, and you're always so encouraging and kind, and that means so much. So thank you for that. But moving on to lunch, I think you guys are gonna love this recipe. It's actually inspired by a half-baked harvest recipe, and she made this buttered, it was like a brown butter balsamic mushroom ravioli, and it looked so good. And so I made a veganized version of it that is lightened up a little bit and also has like slightly different ratios, but I think it's very similar. So I obviously want to give her credit because this flavor combination is genius and just especially delicious. And while I was cooking it, Nicholas was like, what smells so good? He looked up from the computer basically like seconds after the rosemary and the sage and the garlic hit the pan because the entire house just smelled so good and very like fall. So he was really excited about lunch, and we both loved this recipe. Look at this absolute beauty of a pasta dish. This is just so gorgeous. And one of the tricks for making perfectly brown mushrooms, I learned this from a chef when I worked in a restaurant, is not to use a nonstick pan, but actually to use a stainless steel skillet like this if you have it. It's not make or break, you can use whatever you have, but this type of pan really allows for a good amount of browning, so you get lots of flavor and a great texture on the mushrooms. One thing that you want to do is put the mushrooms in the really hot pan. You want to preheat it first, and you don't want to add any oil or seasoning. You just want to put them in there and let them sit for like 5 minutes. This will really help to encourage that browning. After that, you can add some oil, you can add your seasonings, and I sauteed this with onions, rosemary, garlic, and then we finish it with a little bit of balsamic vinegar. And this is going to deglaze deglaze the pan and create a really nice glaze on the mushrooms. And the last step is just to add some kale. Oh, we added some salt and pepper too, obviously. But the kale and the mushrooms just makes this pasta so hearty. Now in the Half-Baked Harvest recipe, she actually spooned this over cheese ravioli, which is so genius because the creaminess of the ricotta really works well with the vegetables. But I went ahead and switched this to tortellini since that is the most common type of vegan cheese pasta that I can find, and it's really good. So you're gonna add a little bit of vegan butter, all of your veggies, and half of the amount of Parmesan cheese. The measurements will be in the description box below. You're gonna toss that all together and top it with the remaining cheese. Now you can really smell the rosemary and the garlic and the sage. I add a little bit of thyme in there too, so it is just so like woodsy and earthy and herby, but you get the little sweetness from the balsamic that pairs perfectly with the rich and creamy pasta. You guys are gonna flip out over this recipe, and like I said, I think it's even special enough for the holidays. Today I'm going to go ahead and work on that blog post so it will be up for you guys if you want to make this recipe at home. I took some pictures along the way, which is one of the reasons why I wasn't like talking to the camera as much yesterday. I was really focused on recipe testing and making sure that both lunch and dinner were really good, and also that I have pictures that I can use to add to the recipe post. So I did that, and the recipe should be up for you guys now. I will link it in the description box below. But moving on to dinner, this was a casserole that I've been dreaming up for a long time because I didn't grow up eating casseroles, but I love the idea, especially going into the cooler months, of a meal that has everything. You just throw it in a pan, pop it in the oven, and it has your protein, your veggies, your carbs, your sauce, like everything all in one, and you can just kind of throw it in there, let it do its thing, maybe serve it with a simple salad, and you have a really homey, cozy meal that is just like stick to your ribs, cozy goodness. And I love the way this one turned out. I wanted to make a broccoli cheddar inspired casserole, so that's what I made for dinner on this night, and it was delicious. Making a casserole is really easy. We're just gonna go ahead and add some rice and broccoli to a casserole dish, mix this all together, and then I'm gonna warm up the broth on the stove so that the rice cooks perfectly. I've got some veggie broth here. I'm gonna make this sauce really rich and creamy with a little coconut milk, but don't worry, it's not gonna taste like coconut. We'll add depth with some Dijon mustard and nutritional yeast. This is really a game changer here. And then I'm gonna add my spices. We've got salt and pepper, a little cayenne, some turmeric for color, which creates that really beautiful kind of cheesy looking sauce. And then we're gonna add some fresh thyme as well. And that's the end of step one. We're just gonna pop this in the oven. I usually honestly will like set a timer and then go watch a show or something, relax for a little bit. I had some crackers and hummus while I was watching my show on this day. And then step two is just to brown up some vegan chicken. I really love this one from Daring, specifically the green bag that doesn't have the breading on it. And I'm just going to cook it in that same saute pan with a little bit of onions and garlic, and that's it. You're just going to lightly sprinkle with salt and pepper until the chicken is browned and the onions are translucent, and then I'm going to carefully uncover the casserole and mix this in. I find that this just creates a really good texture, and then we're going to finish by adding our cheese. We've got to add some vegan cheddar cheese here, mix this all together. I kind of smooth out the top again and add the rest of the cheese on top, and this is going to bake into this creamy, cheesy broccoli cheddar casserole that has your protein from your chicken, you've got your fiber and all of your vitamins from your broccoli, and then we've got those good fiber-rich carbs from the rice, and we're topping it with a little cheese because it's delicious, and this is like an all-in-one meal. We just had this on its own on this day. I just pop it back in the oven to melt the cheese basically, and it was so good. It was rich and creamy and hearty. It was surprisingly filling as well, and normally I would say serve this with a salad because the combination of having like a fresh, green, zesty salad on the side of something that is rich and hearty and creamy like this would be so good. But we just had it just like this. Nicholas put a little hot sauce on his, and we enjoyed this absolutely delicious casserole while watching the new season of Only Murders in the Building, which I'm so excited that that show is back. Comment below and let me know if you've seen it and what you think, but we both really like this show, so it was the perfect way to end the day. I'm still working on this recipe to make sure I have the measurements correct. I feel like especially when you are making a casserole and you're cooking rice in the oven, you want to make sure that you have the exact perfect amount of liquids because you want it to be creamy and cheesy, but you also want the rice to cook all the way through without it being too soupy. And I think the texture was perfect here, but I'm gonna need to make it a couple more times before I share it with you to make sure that it's replicable, because that just gives me peace of mind when I share the recipes, that I know it's right, I know the measurements work. And so I'm gonna practice it a couple more times and then I will share it with you. But I think this is gonna be a staple for us in the fall and in the winter. It was just so good and cozy. I've said cozy like 20,000 times in this video, but I really think those are my favorite kinds of recipes, especially the kinds that you make when it is like getting into the holiday season and the winter time, because it's more than just food. It's something that feels really like homey, like the smell of the food cooking and even the process of making these types of recipes. There's something that is just so homey and atmospheric about the process as well as the meal itself. So I get really excited and inspired making recipes around this time, and I can't wait to share more of them with you. I also wanted to thank you for all of the blog feedback that you guys gave me about what kind of content you want to see, and I definitely have some back to school recipes that a lot of you guys asked for that I will put in a playlist. I'm definitely gonna make more moving forward, but I wanted to say I did back to school like week-long series on YouTube for excuse me, probably like 5 years, and I put together my favorite videos from those years into like a playlist that I will link down below. So those will have some really easy packable lunches to go ahead and get you started, and like I said, I'm definitely planning on making more as time goes on. So I hope you'll find that helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up because that really helps more people find my channel. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye.